Here's the behind-the-scenes story of the most exciting debut of the year, and why I thought everyone who wanted to publish it was crazy. On September 3rd, 2020, I received an email from Ian Chapman, the CEO of Simon and Schuster UK. The subject line, in capital letters, was "Urgent! Hot children's fiction. Permission to preempt requested." A preempt is an immediate offer to acquire an author's book, usually a sum vast enough to prevent an auction, thereby preempting the risk of losing the book to a competitor. The book they wanted to buy was a first novel called Skandar and the Unicorn Thief. The editor and publisher in the children's division had both read it with the same ecstatic reaction. Ali Dougal, the editor, described it as an epic, reminiscent of Harry Potter. Her publisher, Rachel Denwood, sent this emphatic note to Ian. "I have now finished the script, and it has the big fantasy world feel of Aragon and his dark materials, and should be a global smash hit." Ian wrote to me, "It feels too good an opportunity to pass up, and if we wait much longer this evening, I fear that the preemptive strike possibility might disappear and not work." We offered that night, but another publisher was also trying to preempt, so the agent decided to hold an auction. Rachel Denwood's email to Ian was unusually determined. She wrote, "We need to get this." Rachel is a discerning and highly accomplished publisher of hundreds of children's books, many of them bestsellers. But I couldn't help wondering to myself, why did she need a first novel by an unknown author about a unicorn thief? At this point, I should confess a bias to you. I don't care about unicorns. I told Ian Chapman that, although I supported his decision completely, I did not understand the appeal of a story about unicorns. Ian responded, "It's been a while since I've heard such universal, immediate, and extreme enthusiasm. It would appear that it is shared by our U.S. colleagues, unicorns or not. So yes, we will go for it. We are as sure as we can be." In the end, we won the auction. Word of mouth about Skandar began to spread among publishers throughout the world. We sold translation rights to 36 territories, more territories than we've ever reached for any recent children's book. Sony Pictures immediately and preemptively bought the movie rights. So, over the Christmas holiday, I started reading, and I was pleased to discover something I should have realized long ago. Skandar is not a unicorn. He's a 13-year-old boy, and I immediately cared about him. He's kind, he worries about his sister and his father, and he's grieving the loss of his mother. Skandar dreams of riding a unicorn because where he lives, that's what every 13-year-old wants to do, to bond with a magical unicorn and ride it into battle. Only a select few unicorn riders are chosen every year. You have to pass an exam and you have to be special to bond with a unicorn. You have to learn how to control it while you're flying through the air together, and that isn't easy, especially if, like Skandar, you're hiding a secret that could get you killed, or at the very least, kicked out of school. For the next 2 days, I was completely engrossed and enthralled as I followed Skandar on his adventures. I felt the same way I did when I first read the Chronicles of Narnia, A Wrinkle in Time, and yes, Harry Potter. And while I immediately understood why this fantastical world would appeal to kids of all ages, what really surprised me was how engaged I was by the logic and intelligence and momentum of the story. Early in the novel, a character scoffs at the idea that unicorns are mythical, harmless, and fluffy. These unicorns are wild, and they can be quite dangerous, which is why Skandar and his friends need proper training. After I finished reading, I had the same question I do every time I'm blown away by a new book. Who wrote this? The author's name is A.F. Stedman. The A stands for Annabelle. When our children's group met with her, she described how she came to write it. It was 8 years ago. She was walking through the streets of Oxford when she suddenly had a vision of a boy riding a unicorn. That image stayed with her, and she began envisioning the world, writing the names of unicorns in a notebook. In 2017, she decided to take a risk, she quit being a lawyer, and she applied for a master's in creative writing at Cambridge. She loved reading Russian and Spanish literature, the magical realism of Gabriel Garcia Marquez and Isabel Allende, and the realism of Tolstoy and Chekhov. She also loved children's literature and fantasy, which she grew up reading. It took her about 2 years to write the manuscript. The first literary agent she sent it to wanted to represent it. He submitted it to publishers, and we all know what happened next. I thought I didn't care about unicorns, but A.F. Stedman's extraordinary novel made me care about Skandar and his friends and their adventures together. In the coming years, millions of readers are going to want to enter this magical world. And that is the word according to Karp.